Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 8th episode of Elder Zoomer's Gaming Guild podcast. We have the usual suspects with us here today. Death is High, Ethan,
What's up?
and Peyton. How are we all doing tonight, fellas?
Well,
my day's
guy.
been pretty good.
Good, very good. Well, we have some interesting topics today. Starting with the first one, I know what it is. I don't know why I'm trying to look it up. The first topic, and this was actually breaking news as of yesterday. It is still a rumor, keep in mind, so I guess it's not fully breaking news. But it is possible that Treyarch may delay their Call of Duty game coming out not this year, but in 2023. They might delay it to 2024.
Yeah.
We don't know why this is happening. Some people think it's because of the Microsoft and Activision acquisition. I always hate saying that. But so I mean, the fact that these two things happened in pretty similar timing could explain it. May have something to do with that. But it could also just be maybe Activision finally wants to give these Call of Duty games more time that they actually deserve. What do you guys think about that? Do you think it's good that they actually take a year off, because they haven't done it since 2004, I believe? I mean, it's been a long time.
So I think it's about fucking time.
Honestly. Yeah. So if I could grab a hold, I think this is directly related to what we talked about in the last episode, which is like the push of games, right? I think pushing back a game. It depends, because you said it's a rumor, right?
Yes, it is still a rumor as of right now via Bloomberg, I believe.
Okay. And then I think because we don't know why, there is hope that it's like, hey, we want to put out a good Call of Duty game. We're trying to put a Call of Duty game out that's built, that's ready to go, and it's going to satisfy. But we also don't know, right?
Yeah,
it's still too early, I think, to fully understand why they've done it. But pushing back a Call of Duty game in any way is still big for whatever the reason. So what do you guys think? What do you think is the most likely reason why?
If I had to guess, it would probably be because I feel like outside of Warzone and Modern Warfare 2019 as a whole, their games have been really struggling compared to past renditions, like Modern Warfare 2, 3, Black Ops 2. All of those games were super good.
Oh yeah, I would absolutely agree.
But I feel like ever since World War II, I want to say, or just I want the more futuristic era was kind of the drop off, where I feel like a lot of the player base,
Infinite Warfare,
just stopped being interested in the games. And so I'm hoping, I have an optimistic outlook on this. I'm hoping they try to take this extra year to kind of give us something that blows us out of the water a little bit, or at least exceeds our expectations. So
yeah, that would be good. See. I hope so. What do you think?
I think that's
or Peyton.
No, Nico, throw your piece in. I've already spoken.
I mean, I don't have a lot of thoughts on this, just because I don't really care about Call of Duty. I'll grab.
Okay, I'll go ahead and grab the
reins
reins then, I guess.
Fuck you. I'll grab a game once in a while and obsess about it. Black Ops 3 was the last one I really enjoyed. And not a lot of people did like that because the movement systems. But I fucking loved it. I did play a lot of the remake of Modern Warfare, but it wasn't great. It was what was out, and I played it. It didn't have much competition that I cared about at the time. So,
also true.
Here's the thing. I think that taking a break is probably the best thing that any annual series like this can do, because of just what's the word? Something fatigue. Just you're getting it every single year. You're getting sick of it, right?
Yeah.
This did wonders for Assassin's Creed. They took a year off, and the next game that released redefined the fucking game, the series.
That's a good point. I think pointing out Assassin's Creed's success with it. I think you're right. There's a satiation, or like
Mhm.
a fatigue is a good word, I think, for consumers of Call of Duty. I mean, we're just used to getting that new Call of Duty. I think whether it's good or bad, I mean, I think we know it's going to come. And honestly, Ethan, you're right. There's been a lot of like blunder, I think, in Call of Duty space right now. And so I just think like at the very least, taking a break to kind of let it reset a little wouldn't hurt them.
And they have
Yeah.
Warzone
Now,
too.
yeah.
Like they have Warzone right now that's still, has such a big player base that they could afford to take a year off. And I
They
don't
can.
think people are going to be like, oh, I'm done with Call of Duty, just because they skip a year.
If they're smart, they'll take this as an opportunity to really bolster the game and make it a heavy hitter. I think regardless of your stance on Call of Duty, you can't deny the fact that when a Call of Duty game comes out that's like put together well and PR'd well, it fucking floods the market. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I think maybe it's an opportunity for Call of Duty to rehash some stuff, quit resting on the laurel. We'll see.
Yeah, I was one of the people who, I didn't hear a lot about Call of Duty Vanguard when it was, getting close to release. I saw a little bit of marketing for it, and that was about it. And I remember thinking, man, like, is this the Call of Duty that's like not gonna sell as well as Activision wants it to? Because with Halo Infinite and Battlefield 2042, it just seemed like not a lot of people were talking about Call of Duty Vanguard, and I was like, I was waiting to see what would happen. And of course, it was like the best-selling game out of like the last like several months, and I was like, so people will just buy Call of Duty no matter what. Basically,
I think the
is what I'm
sales
getting.
numbers aren't exactly. Yeah, I think the sales numbers for Call of Duty aren't the most reliable statistic for like how good the quality is of the Call of Duty.
Oh, definitely not.
No,
Because
I mean,
I'm gonna be like 100% with you guys. I honestly forgot that Call of Duty Vanguard got released.
Me too,
like,
actually.
Yeah,
like I just
right?
forgot
It
it was a
feels like
game
it's still-
until you
Wait a
just
minute.
brought it up.
Vanguard isn't 2023.
I thought no, I genuinely thought Cold War was still the latest game, so I don't know.
Honestly, I forgot. I thought that it was like Halo Infinite and Battlefield whatever were like the two out right now. I forgot Vanguard released.
Me too.
Yeah, because everyone's still playing Warzone. I really feel like Warzone is still so big, and they incorporate the latest Call of Duty into Warzone, which is smart. I would say from a from
Also
a business standpoint.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I mean, I agree with I really agree with Nico on this. Having played like Pacific firsthand when it was, I mean, it's just not the business side of it. Totally agree with you, Garrett. It's a smart move, but they don't do it right. I mean, they don't retroactively connect the games to Warzone well. Yeah. So I don't know. To me, the next Call of Duty has to make a standout. It has to be the case that when you want Warzone, you play Warzone.
Yeah.
But you're motivated to play this other Call of Duty game for other reasons.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, if they were like really intelligent, honestly, what they should have done was when Modern Warfare 2019 released, they should have delayed like Cold War and Vanguard and made those games a lot better.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Hindsight's 2020, so it's all
well. And what's interesting is that
I don't know. That would have been too hard to call, I think. But
well, and the thing is that in 2020, Cold War was almost done with development after like the pandemic started, and I remember a lot of people thinking, "Oh my gosh, what's going to happen with this game?" But then they revealed it in June, and it looked pretty solid. And they had a beta, and I actually played it, and I was like, this feels okay. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's not like buggy, and like it works, and I mean, as far as I remember, the game, I think Cold War had a pretty smooth launch as far as I remember.
I remember it being one of the better, if not the best integrated Call of Duty with Warzone, right? Like Call of Duty Cold War and then Call of Duty Modern Warfare feel like the two halves that make up Warzone, and everything else that's coming along with it just kind of feels like
Vanguard
mishposh.
is like the awkward like middle child or
the weird looking fat on the end of the steak, right?
Yeah.
I actually forgot about Cold War, if I'm honest. And that was one of the games that I did get and actually enjoyed playing a little bit, especially the zombies was actually
yeah,
not a return to form, but definitely a good evolution of the formula.
Treyarch
If you take it on its own,
best, I think.
Yeah, I mean, zombies is always a good bet. I mean, I think if they mess it up,
zombies is always a good bet.
Yeah. But or maybe not a bet. Maybe that's not the right word I'm looking for. Maybe like it's an opportunity, right? Like I feel like the other game modes that Call of Duty offers, while botched plenty of times, they've always been multiplayer. But there's something about a really well-made Call of Duty tertiary mode like zombies that when it's done right, it's really done right. And I think that I think Cold War did do a good job with zombies. Not a return to form. I totally am with that, Nico. But definitely, if you take it on its own, it was fun. But still, it wasn't sustainable though. I didn't play it for a long time. I kind of we played it and we kind of sprinted it a little bit and then burnt.
Love that first map. Haven't touched any of the others.
Yeah, I mean, and I wonder, Call of Duty's PR has always been a big aspect of like the success of their marketing. I feel like
their marketing
always plays a really but I think I feel like they've been slacking. I feel like the marketing and like the hype for Call of Duty hasn't been lately what it has been in the past.
They have a lot of competition. Think about how many
that's true.
FPS, free to play has been a big thing now.
That's true.
You have games like Splitgate. Halo's always been a big competitor to Call of Duty, and I think Battlefield to a certain extent has been. It's not a competition now, but with how horrible the launch 2042 was, but I mean the gaming field is changing in general, and you have like Overwatch now, and Overwatch has been out for a while, but you have so many competitive FPS games. Rainbow Six Siege, another one. I mean, it's like
Tarkov?
These games. Tarkov, yeah. I mean, these games really have to stand out and be good. But the good thing is that Call of Duty is a franchise that's 20 years old, and so they're already so established that people come in and they buy those games. And
what I think's happening?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
it's the unfortunate thing of like brand awareness.
Yeah,
we'll buy it for the name and nothing else.
Yep. And I think what we're starting to see though, and this is kind of like the brutal beauty of the ecosystem of the market. Once you get more serious competitors, the big names start to really they have to get creative in order to survive, right? Because it's no longer free grazing. You've got all of these competitive titles that if Call of Duty or Halo drop the ball, I wouldn't say would get overtaken, but will be more threatened than they've ever been before. I mean, Call of Duty and Halo and I don't know, Madden or whatever would occupied very, very special positions, I think, in gaming where they were untouchable. It was like all the other games played down here, Dead Space, Gears of War, God of War, whatever. And then you had the big A-list whatever games like Halo
AAA.
Ads for
AAA, yeah. Thank you, Nico. Yeah.
The big AAA
we're associated with consoles and stuff like that. Now, Master Chief's still associated with Xbox, but it's not like Halo occupies a sole untouchable position anymore. Same with Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Same with Battlefield.
Yeah, very true.
If I think we've seen now. I don't think when Battlefield 3 came out, I would have said like, oh yeah, anything could take out a Battlefield game. Battlefield was pretty damn in that AAA category for me, but like Battlefield 2042, man, you got plenty of other like shooters that are out right now that could totally overtake it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
but I think there's a healthy aspect to that, which is that like hopefully with that threat they'll start to crank up the quality. Hopefully.
Yeah, and
I'm too cynical.
yeah. Well,
I know you
and
are. I know you are,
here's,
Nico.
I mean, I think we're all a little cynical. I mean, I hope they do, but to wrap this up, the one thing Activision does have going for them is that this year, I think they're still planning to release Modern Warfare 2, which I'm actually a little bit excited about because I really liked the remaster,
Me too.
the 2019 reboot. I liked the campaign. I actually liked the multiplayer. And of course that brought Warzone, which was really fun. So I think Modern Warfare 2 is going to be pretty good, and I think if they do skip a year, I think Activision's going to try and make Modern Warfare 2 as good of a game as it can be, and then they're going to leave us on that, try to make it last for 2 years, and then we'll get whatever Treyarch's game is in 2024. If they do end up skipping 2023, I think that's the route they're going to do. They're probably going to try to put they're putting as much into Modern Warfare 2 right now as they can, because if they are skipping a year, then this has been a plan for a while. This wasn't an idea that just came about yesterday.
Yeah.
These games are in the pipeline, 2-3 years before they release.
Well, I hope they don't give birth to it prematurely because it's got big fucking shoes to fill, man.
Yeah.
Arguably bigger shoes to fill than Modern Warfare reboot had with Modern Warfare. So
yeah, very true. Very true. So I do want to move on to the next topic. This will probably be a shorter one, but I do want to hear your guys' take on this. So I don't know, has anyone here seen Uncharted?
I haven't, but I've been meaning to.
Okay.
I was excited to talk about this topic, by the way.
Yeah. Okay, so I went and saw Uncharted. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't amazing, but it was pretty good. Sony has called it a success. It has already generated well over 100 million in global box office revenue at this point. And I think it's interesting because, we're seeing, we've always had video game adaptations of things, and most of the time they're usually pretty bad.
Yeah.
But I think we're starting to see some better ones. I thought the last Tomb Raider movie that came out a few years ago was pretty good. And the Mortal Kombat movie that came out last year was decent. And with Uncharted having some success, and we have the Halo show coming out soon, and we have a Last of Us series coming out pretty soon.
Detective Pikachu.
Exactly.
Detective Pikachu.
Movies of games, Detective Pikachu.
Do you guys think that more video game centric films and TV shows, do you think those will start to have more of a role in movie theaters? Like, you'll start to see more of these movies come about, and maybe with greater success because of gaming in general, the popularity of it has risen a lot, and I think that could start reflecting what we see in cinemas. It's not just going to be, it might not just be Star Wars and Marvel movies always crossing the $1 billion mark. Ironically enough, both owned by Disney.
Yeah,
I actually have thoughts on this.
Well, speaking of Marvel,
go for it. Whoever wants to.
I mean, I was just going to note before Nico. Sorry, I just wanted to note. Does this remind you of the pathway of comic book movies?
Hayden, I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Yeah,
so. So how I see it is, the way society evolves is whatever is the niche thing that kids get bullied for, those kids grow up, they get money and power and influence. They're the ones creating the culture. They make what they want. We saw this with comic books. We saw this with fantasy shows. We saw this with we're seeing this now with like emo music, pop punk. That's coming back.
Oh yeah, dude, emo night over in San
everything.
Luis Obispo was bigger than any concert apparently I had ever seen at Fremont.
I mean, people are gatekeeping it, where it's gatekeeping it right now. Like, oh, these kids aren't real pop punks or whatever. It's like, I'm like,
that happens.
Shit changes.
Yeah.
Well, but Garrett, you and me, we did that with the comic book stuff, right? Like, I know we had conversations where it was like all these people getting into Marvel movies now we were into Marvel comics and like, you know,
Yeah, as kids, and like you couldn't
as
talk about
kids.
it with like the random person because they might be like, "Oh,
Anime too.
You
you're a
fucking
fucking
nerd."
nerd or
Anime,
whatever."
yeah, look at
Anime
anime
has
now.
become so mainstream. It's
Yep.
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yep.
absurd. I never thought I would see the day where I just see fucking random people. Like I could say like the majority of people at this point have watched at least one anime, which is
Yeah,
so
Attack on
weird.
Titan
It's
is so
super
mainstream.
weird.
It's
Oh yeah,
ridiculous.
dude. I mean,
Oh,
I
it's
never thought
Everyone's
I'd
watching
hear-
Attack on Titan,
I never thought I would hear people in a workspace talking about Attack on Titan.
right?
Yeah, no, it's
who
weird.
else in this podcast chat literally used to like watch anime and make a conscious decision not to tell people about it? Like I remember back in middle school. Yeah,
I don't
remember
really
back
watch
in middle
anime,
school.
but
That's fair.
I get your point.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing: is it's not like I was watching, you know, like Elfen Lied or something. I mean, I was watching like Bleach, Naruto.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, I watched some Ghost in the Shell as like a retro. I mean, anime used to be if you watched anime and it wasn't TV shows, you were watching
Mhm.
like the kind of like dreary, artistic anime or
Yeah.
you know, Studio Ghibli
Yeah.
or something like that. But you know, the games and video games, comic books, it's the same thing, right? And there's a pattern I think that we're seeing right now
Mhm.
that has been most recently and most notably, like Nico was pointing out, you know, followed by Marvel and DC and everything, which is that you know, comic books were niche, came into the mainstream, they had successful movies. I think we've seen with video games already, and we definitely saw with comic books, although people forget about movies like Daredevil with Ben Affleck
Mhm.
and
Yeah, 'cause
you
they
know,
were
Ghost
kinda meh.
Rider.
I thought they
Well,
were kinda
here's the
meh,
thing.
but at least
Well,
Daredevil
yeah,
was.
no, they're bad. I mean, they're bad movies, but people forget that, like, oh, comic book movies. What do you mean comic book movies used to be bad? Comic book movies rock, and it's like, no, comic book movies used to be bad, dude.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and same thing with
Yeah.
video game stuff because they
Same
get,
thing
you
with
know,
video
these
game stuff.
directors, you know, they get these
Yeah.
directors
See-
that have never really done like a big project
Exactly.
before. I mean, you look at like
Mhm.
Assassin's Creed.
Dude,
And I think that's
like-
also because the studios don't have a lot of belief in it,
No.
and then it
No,
creates a
here's the thing.
perpetual feedback.
Here's the thing. So because shit was getting popular, right? People were starting to see the trends. They were starting to see, oh, comic books are kind of a thing. Let's try to
People are
capitalize on this.
collectors.
Let's try and make money off this group that we don't give a shit about. And it turned out shit. They were
Oh my-
terrible
yeah,
movies.
yeah.
They were
uh-huh.
terrible video game movies for the same fucking reason. These people have never touched a video game in their goddamn life.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
lost the entire point of a video game and how the stories are told. And they
Mhm.
made a shit movie because of that. Here's
So
the thing. When
do
the
you
people
think-
who loved comic books became older, entered their careers, started
Mhm.
making shit that they wanted to see, that's when it got good.
Mhm.
Our generation, we're the ones who grew up with video games like this. We're the ones who are now becoming adults, entering into the sphere
Yeah.
with these careers. We're the
Well-
ones who are going to make these good video game movies, and we're already starting to see it.
Because
Yeah.
think about it, we're really the first generation to have video games that could possibly be movie or other media worthy. I mean, think about like fucking Mario, Legend of Zelda. I mean, those were-
Mario's
Zelda
getting a
could
movie,
be.
by the way.
Yeah.
well, yeah, but, or like,
Chris
like
Pratt, right?
Sonic or whatever.
I mean,
mean,
I'm
it's like,
so excited
there's some-
to see what
there's
happens
some
with the Mario
borderline.
movie.
Oh, I listen. I'll say it on this podcast. I want to watch the Sonic movies. They look funny as fuck. But here's the thing. I think like all of those still borderline movie worthy. Get all the other games within that sphere that predate our generation. You know, you'd have to really heavily modify some of those themes.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's also at play here. Games started to get more narrative content. I mean, like look at Halo. Halo's got a story that is ripe for other media, and you know, Halo's actually been making other media for a really long time.
I mean,
Remember when
yeah, you
Halo
got
Waypoint
games-
first came out?
Yeah, games
Yeah.
like Final Fantasy too. You know, that
Final
are,
Fantasy,
like
yeah.
super story rich.
Yep,
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Advent when Final Fantasy 7 at Advent Children, I think was the name of the
Yes,
movie,
yeah.
came out. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, the CGI is so cool. Like I would
Yeah.
love to see a video
Yep.
game like this. And then you get the
Exactly.
Final Fantasy 7 remake that looks
Literally
even better, and
now.
it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
What?
Dude, yeah,
Like, that's
I
so
remember
cool.
watching that on my PSP. I had that movie on PSP UMD disc,
Mhm.
and I watched Final Fantasy Advent Children, and I was like, this is way better than the Final Fantasy game. Fuck those
Yeah.
games. And then now, look at this. Like, we're here, and it's
Yeah.
better.
It's crazy.
So I think I think, yeah, we're definitely going to be seeing more popular and bigger production media
It's gonna do
pushes
this,
for
I think,
games.
is what's
Totally.
gonna happen.
I think it's a very predictable trajectory. I don't see this being a trend that's going to stop. I mean, we're probably going to see
As long
like
as it's
some
successful.
God of War stuff.
This is
Yeah,
the
as
pivotal
long as it's
moment right here.
successful.
Halo, The Last of Us. These are the big ones, the big
And
shows.
they're
These have to
known
be
names.
successful in order for people to, you know, especially with Halo, because I mean, you had, you know, Forward Dawn, and Nightfall, and like those smaller projects, but this is like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's on Showtime. Like that's big.
Paramount
so,
Plus.
Yeah, on
you know?
Paramount Plus. So, I mean, it's a big deal. And you know, everyone's eyes are going to be on it. Like this, you know, Halo and The Last of Us are going to be the big shows where people ask themselves, can video games be high, can they have high budget productions and be successful and warrant
I think
that
we're
high budget production?
Yeah, and I think we aren't at the place yet where that's cemented. It's definitely
Yeah.
still in that like turning point phase. I mean, you know, if you have, I'm really happy that Uncharted like was good, right?
Mhm.
But
I
it's
thought it
like
was pretty good.
if it was epic, it would really set the stage and make a mark for video game movies. I mean, I think that each video game movie or show that comes out right now is very important potential for pushing further video game stuff out, because
Mhm.
that's what
Yeah.
further content is based off, is the success of the past content, right?
Mhm.
That's like what we were
Yes.
saying with with comic book movies. I mean, there was a huge gap between current Marvel movies and previous Marvel movies, because the
Yeah.
previous Marvel movies like Daredevil and Ghost Rider didn't do well, and so the studios took a huge gamble, finally deciding to do what was it, Iron Man?
Iron Man
Iron Man
was
was
what
first
really
one?
kicked
Yeah.
it off. Yeah.
Iron
Then
Man's
Disney came in
success
and was like,
okay,
"Oh,
here
money."
we go. Water's
Mhm.
safe. We're good to go. Let's make another one. Let's do
Yep.
Captain America, and then yeah.
Yeah, really got the
Um,
ball rolling there.
So I
Um,
think it's one of those things where it's like, if Master Chief, or if Halo, if the Halo series does really well, boom, ball rolling. You know,
Yeah.
I think we'd see a huge uptick after if it's a successful show.
Yeah, no, I think so too, and I hope these are successful. I want them, because I want to see more stuff
Me
like
too.
this. I think we
Definitely.
all do.
Definitely.
Does anyone else have anything to add before we move on to the next topic? Anything you want to throw out? I'm excited for Halo and Last of Us, and I hope they're good. I hope people tune in, and I'm sure Paramount Plus' subscribers are going to go way up.
Oh yeah.
I hope they do. I hope people don't pirate it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
hope
that's
they
a
don't too.
yeah, that's a good point.
The other
'Cause
thing,
it's like,
I think they actually.
No one fucking wants Paramount Plus. There's no reason to get it.
yeah,
But if we don't give them money, they're not going to get a season 2. If it's good or not, doesn't matter.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
you got to support them, unfortunately.
Yeah, actually, I think I believe Halo was already renewed for a second season, even though it
Is it
hasn't come out
fucking
yet.
really?
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's a really good sign.
yeah. And this has
Alright.
happened before. This happened with the Witcher series as well. Oh yeah, Witcher was another one. I mean, technically originally a book series.
I completely
but-
forgot.
forgot about the
Yeah.
Witcher was a
but
book series first.
it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Mhm.
And the show's
it was
based off the books.
Yeah, but Henry Cavill did play a lot of the games and did try to make his Geralt a
He
little bit
loves
like
the games. He loves
so
the
I
books.
thought that
God
was
damn,
kinda
I
cool.
fucking love Henry Cavill, honestly,
Yeah,
man.
he's great.
Do you know that he dated an 18-year-old?
What the fuck?
or like a 19-year-old or something like that? Yeah. That's it for another
When?
episode.
Wow, that is interesting.
This was way back. She was, I think she was
How old
19, or
was
she had like
he?
just turned
TMZ.
20. This was back
Yeah.
when this was when he was cast as Superman. So he was
Oh,
in
He was
He was, like,
younger,
still though like
probably mid to late 20s.
mid to late 20s.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
still
that's
an age
weird.
gap,
Anyway,
but
anyway.
But yeah, also yeah. So Witcher was renewed for a second season before the first season came out, and Halo did the same thing. So Paramount Plus is really betting on this. They're probably already going to start production on the new season. So I hope it works out for them. I'd like to see more of it. Second to last topic I wanted to get to, and I briefly discussed this with Nico earlier. So Horizon Forbidden West released on Friday, exclusive to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5.
Heard nothing but good stuff.
It is I think Nico and I both think it's a very good game, and we are going to talk about that in a second. But first, I saw an article yesterday saying that 68% of the physical copy sales of Horizon were PlayStation 5. Now, the reason why this is weird is because if you buy the PlayStation 4 version, you got a free upgrade to the PlayStation 5. So you could pay $60 for the PS4 version or $70 for the PS5 version, but either way, if you just pay the $60 and save the $10, then you can upgrade and get that PS5 version later. Here's the thing, though. Here. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Then you can jump in.
You might answer my question.
The thing is that on Sony's digital store, their PlayStation 5 store that's on the console, it does not say anywhere that you get the free upgrade to the PS5. So the only way to know is looking at the box art on the PS4 version, which does say in the bottom left corner, free upgrade to PlayStation 5. Or, you heard the articles and heard people talk about it, but because it wasn't on on Sony's store, people that were like, oh, I'm just going to buy the PS4 version, even though I have a PlayStation 5. And this happened to my cousin Zach, actually. He was hesitant because he's like, I'm reading the fine print and I don't see that. So what if I buy the PS4 version and then I don't get the PS5 version? They have to spend another $70 to get it. Yeah. So my whole thing was that I feel like it was a little sketchy that Sony didn't put that on their website and or on the store. And I feel like they did that to try to get more money out of people.
You know what? I will indulge my cynical side. I will indulge Nico's aspect in me and say, yeah, no, I think those dirty, greedy bastards did that as a money grab. That sounds like a money grab. Not an overt one, but a very subtle.
Granted, it's $10, but still, yeah, it's.
I mean, $10 over
68% of sales, though.
People is going to be a lot of money. I mean, that's like what, a seventh of the base cost of the game. So
yeah,
yeah. So I will say, go ahead. For once, I don't know that it's malicious. I genuinely think it might just be incompetence.
It could
because this is not the first time that their free upgrade system has been dog shit and miscommunicated and just stupid. It's been like this since the PS5 has released. Every game that they've tried to oh yeah, we'll give you a free upgrade or here's how you. The process of upgrading is so convoluted and stupid that they had a ton of backlash about this a year ago. This is not a new thing. I genuinely think it's just incompetence.
Well, I mean, I will play devil's advocate here, and I'm playing up on our little role reversal here. I think it's cute. I think. But I'll play devil's advocate, and I'll, there is such a thing as systems that are intentionally complicated or intentionally obscure to deter or to encourage particular behavior, and from consumers, right? And I think that I don't see it out of the realm of possibility that maybe the entire system of upgrades was intentionally obscurated. Maybe not for malicious purposes, but to discourage buying a cheaper version and then upgrading.
Yeah.
I mean, on that same note, just real quick, it's think about how hard it is to cancel some subscription services.
Yes.
Sometimes they make you call or give reasons and type paragraphs and shit as to why you want to cancel the service.
It's a deterrent.
Yeah,
some people are lazy.
Yeah,
exactly. Some people are gonna look at that and be like, I'll just do this later.
Yeah.
And then
so
about it.
To be fair, yes, that's absolutely accurate, and that's how just video games in general have been designed for the last few years. I mean, fucking look at the Assassin's Creed series. Like all that shit is like, oh, we're intentionally gonna make leveling up bullshit so you can buy XP boosts. That was a huge thing for Odyssey, one of the open world ones.
Behavior.
Anyway, yeah, no,
Behaviorism.
it's entirely like that's a thing. But what I was gonna say is that why Sony's not stupid, and I don't think that. Well, what I want to say
Stupid enough
is
to
Choose
that
your
store.
words carefully.
I'm trying to. It's very. What I'm trying to say is that
Elder Zoomers
Is-
Game Podcast
is a
sponsored by
little-
Sony.
shut up. Is a little bit extra money. Is a little bit extra money from this obscure bullshit system really worth their reputation when Xbox is doing the free upgrade things right?
Yeah.
That's a great point. I will say that
Because
is a
it
great
is so
point.
fucking easy. I literally got a Series X, transferred all my shit from my Xbox One to my Series X. All I had to do was press a fucking button. All my data got transferred, and then it all automatically got upgraded to the Series X version.
And
Yeah.
look at how
By
much of a mark
itself.
that made on you. I mean, look at how much of a mark that made on you.
Yeah.
Right. That's a big thing. It's kind of like the I like to assume okay, so these companies can spend so much money on high echelon marketing consideration, right?
Mhm.
Like the design of everything that goes into it has the potential to be very, very well thought out. The process of everything, the user experience. I mean, planning the user experience for a website alone, let alone an entire console that's going to sell multi-millions.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great point, Nico. I think
Can I jump in real quick? if you don't mind?
Please jump in, please.
So it is weird to me that Sony specifically didn't put it on their store, because they've put it everywhere else that the game has a free upgrade. So it's like maybe they just forgot, or maybe they created the store listing before they decided to make the free upgrade. Okay, you can play that, but the thing is that the Xbox One has had backwards compatibility since 2015. Sony didn't create backwards compatibility until the PlayStation 5. And it's very obvious that Microsoft has had way more time to develop and work well, because Sony's is very rough around the edges. Now, I will say, upgrading Miles Morales for me was really easy. That game was done right. But every game since then, Ghost of Tsushima was hard. I remember very few people played Avengers, so I don't think this mattered to a lot of people. But I remember Square Enix had to put out on Twitter a step-by-step guide on how to upgrade from the PlayStation 4 version of Avengers to PlayStation 5, and it was like a 10-step process. And there were people commenting like, I'm having trouble doing this, like it's not working, blah blah. And it was just like, it was a mess. And I'd see people like, Xbox version, click update, play the game.
Click update. Step 2, play game.
It's true.
Step 3,
it really
smoke
is
joint.
true. So for all the people out there that did buy the PlayStation 5, and Nico, you were one of them who bought the PlayStation 5 version. Unfortunately, yes, you could have saved $10 and bought the PS4 version. And you actually do get 2 versions that way. Whereas if you buy the PlayStation 5 version, you only get that version. You don't get the PS4 version. So.
Well, actually, if you pay $80 to get the deluxe edition, you also get the PlayStation 4 version.
Then you get both. Yeah, so that is true. It's skewed. It's weird. And Sony did say this is the last game that's getting that, I believe, which is probably for the better, because it's so screwed up at this point. It's almost like having the option has become worse.
I don't know. Sounds like some kind of price gouging scheme to me, fellas.
Yeah, I think so a little bit. But I thought that was interesting. I do want to circle it around to positive news about Horizon Forbidden West.
Horizon. Yes.
Yeah, I played the game so much. I became sleep deprived. I still am over that game.
We can tell.
Love it so much. I finished the main story. I'm doing like the side stuff now until Elden Ring comes out. But I mean, the game was incredible. They put out the first patch today, which fixes some of the bugs. I really didn't encounter any bugs, but there were some minor ones in there, so they've already put out their first patch, which is great. Not even a week after launch, their first big patch. So they've been keeping up with it really well, listening to player feedback and addressing those issues specifically. And I think this was a big win for Sony because Microsoft put out Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite at the end of last year, and those were two really big games that also got good reviews. And Sony really needed something to kind of come out of the gate swinging, and I think Horizon was what they were betting on, and it was a success for them. So I was really happy to see that. I think it had an 88 on Metacritic. It might still have that. The score may have fluctuated a little bit. But Nico, did you want to say anything about Horizon that you specifically like before we jump into the next thing?
Dude, it's fucking I'm not done with the main story. I'm meandering. How I play open world games is I 100% the starting area and then move on to the first area and just kind of like meander around, do whatever the fuck is near me and just kind of explore. So I just completed like my first cauldron. I'm not gonna say any spoilers, but
Thank you.
I'm still in no man's land. Literally, like I walked out the gates of the starting area. That's where I am because I've been doing all these side quests. I've been like exploring. I've been like getting my ass fucked by all these like high level like machines that I didn't realize were high level.
Speaking of which, Elden Ring, can we get a fucked in the ass by Elden Ring?
We'll get there.
The main character.
I'm talking, motherfucker.
We're almost there, Peyton. I know. I'm excited to talk about Elden Ring too. We're almost there.
Fucking Horizon's so good, man. The story. It is honestly.
It's a great sequel.
It's not. It might be my favorite sci-fi story.
Really?
Like really?
Yeah.
Really?
More than Halo?
That's why I hesitated. I love Halo's lore so fucking much,
Halo
but it's up
really
there, man.
Horizon's
lore is phenomenal.
So it's a worthy.
Wow.
Okay, the first game, learning the actual origins of like why the world is the way it is, almost brought me to tears. It's
crazy.
I don't have words to describe how good the story is.
Could Horizon
be
Sony's response to Halo, like in terms of like the sci-fi thing? I never really thought about. I mean, Killzone kind of was because it was like also an FPS, but
Killzone tried to be.
But I feel like with the lore specifically, with the sci-fi lore, I feel like that could be what Sony was going for. Maybe they were trying to tackle Halo a little bit with that. I never thought about that until just now.
Can I ask like how big the lore of that game is, like how expansive, how far reaching?
I mean, it's
because I think Halo's two games
without spoilers, because I still I'm behind
no spoilers.
because I haven't even played the first one yet. I have it downloaded, but I haven't played the first one yet.
Play.
I know. It's on my list. It's on my list, so I have it downloaded.
I will say, Horizon is contained to 2 games, and then I think there's a book or maybe a few books.
I thought it was a comic book.
Maybe it is a comic book, some sort of literature
something
as
small.
well. But I mean, so no, it's not as expansive as Halo, just because there's not as much of it out there. It's much more recent. But I will say, in terms of the time span that it covers, like over 1,000 years, I mean, there's a lot there still, even with its limited amount of media. There's still a lot of story there. So,
is it as epic?
No, it's not as epic because it's contained to Earth. It's not like it's not like universe expanding. Like we're going to several different Halo rings. There's all this like deep history with precursors and forerunners and all these ancient wars. There's not
okay.
Yeah.
But I think it hits emotional beats far better than Halo ever did.
Okay, so rather than being out, it's more like in.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
It makes you fucking think too. Like, dude, that lore.
I like that.
Oh my god, I'm getting chills thinking about it. Fuck that reveal.
Good thing you got a blanket.
That's how good it is.
Play the first game, guys. You have to.
Nico's chills are proof enough. How
good thing he's got a blanket.
If you have a PlayStation 4, you can play both games. Even if you don't have a PS5 yet, you can play both games on a PS4. So if you haven't played it yet, do it. And if anyone else doesn't have anything else to say, I think we can move on to what we all really want to move on. Oh, go ahead, Vane.
Can I play it on my Leapfrog?
No.
You can.
They
with
haven't released that patch
imagination.
mean, you could probably like rig out your leapfrog,
I can
mod the shit out of
it's
it.
like
mods for the
adapter to
leapfrog?
adapter
install,
to adapter to
install
adapter.
Sony's operating system, run it on your leapfrog,
Dude, that reminds me of like
attach
the
a disk
person that
drive.
it's like the people that got Doom running on a calculator and like all that
Yes, yeah.
all that stuff. Like
Or you can mod your like 3DS to run emulators of like like NES games and shit.
Yeah.
like
Like you
Dude,
can,
I saw
yeah.
someone made a functioning, like a giant scale functioning Pokemon Red in Minecraft using Redstone.
I love that.
Because it's like it's coding. It's just
It is.
it's
It really
it's,
is. Yeah.
it's just 1-to-1.
People
So it's
have
just
created
scaled up.
a computer in
Mhm.
Minecraft with Redstone.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Anyway,
Anyway.
off topic.
cool stuff, but all right. I'm gonna save myself for last for Elden Ring. So you guys go for it.
Y'all, this is gonna be one of the greatest games ever made. I'm putting my
I-
money on it now.
I
I'm
know,
so
I-
hyped.
98 on
excited.
Metacritic.
This is
last I saw,
probably-
I think it was 98.
I don't
didn't
know.
fact check. Hold on, I'm gonna fact check myself real quick.
Okay. I mean,
Everyone's
this-
giving it
this-
10 out of 10s and like super
I-
strong recommendations.
This is
like-
probably the most hyped I've been for a game since I don't think I was this hyped for Halo Infinite.
I think this is the most hyped I've been for a game ever. I
Mhm. Same.
am so excited for this game.
Yeah, sleep's gonna be lost. I mean, it feels.
I'm
You know what it feels
literally
like?
doing my homework a week in advance so that I have a week to do fucking nothing.
And you know what that
Mhm.
reminds me of? It reminds
Halo
me
3?
of back in the day. Yeah, seriously, it reminds me of back in the day when like Halo 3 came out, or like the new fucking Splinter Cell or something would come out, and it'd be a holiday. It'd be like Christmas coming. It
Mhm.
feels like
Yeah.
Christmas is coming soon. It's awesome. I haven't had that feeling in so
Oh,
well.
fuck.
That's depressing. I haven't
I'm
had
s-
that feeling with video games in so long.
Nothing makes me happy anymore.
Nothing makes me happy, but this video game's gonna bring me joy.
Oh god, I'm
Garrett, there's
it
your-
looks
there's your-
so good.
There's your thumbnail for this video.
All right, I'll use that. I'll just paste your
Okay.
face on it. So for per individual console, I'm
She
seeing
put a cock
90,
in front of it.
I'm seeing 97. I'm seeing 97 on PS5 and then 95 on Xbox and PC. So
That's
I guess
good,
that's a
though, man.
96 average.
Mhm.
So I guess it's gone down a little bit, but it's still
That's an A plus.
really high. I mean that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is the this is the review period. So once gamers that aren't media influencers get their hands on it,
Yeah,
it will
once
be,
the
that
real
score will probably go
critics-
down a little bit more, but still, I mean, it's off to a great start.
Dude, I mean, that's the thing. It's not obscure. It's like, this is legit. It's not just like, oh, this looks cool and I'm hyped for it. Like,
And so many people are excited for it now. I feel
So
like
many
I
people
feel
are
like it's
excited
not
and it's
niche anymore.
legit.
Like these
No,
Souls
it's
games
not.
don't feel as
Okay.
niche anymore. Like
Just
not.
to reinforce this point, I'm like super pissed off because I was gonna get the collector's edition for PS5 even though I didn't have a PS5 yet. Because this was like back in, I think it was like October when these went on sale. And literally the day I checked it at like noon and they were still like selling for every
Mhm.
console. And then I checked back like 2 hours later and they'd all already sold out,
which retailer were you looking
which
at?
is great. Every single one of them by like
Really?
2 p.m. Yeah, 2 or 3 p.m. They were all sold out.
That works because I walked into a GameStop and pre-ordered the collector's edition for PS5 and it was like 1 p.m. and they still had them.
Yeah, no, it's
So
it was
I
ridiculous.
must have
I looked
barely
at
made
every
it.
single it was insane. I'm really pissed off because I was gonna get it, and
Fuck.
like just due to the circumstances, I'm probably just gonna like buy
Preload
one
it and
off
get the
eBay or
digital.
something. Honestly,
That's what I think I'm gonna do.
I think I'm just
I
gonna buy a
totally kicked
resale one
myself
off
over
eBay.
that.
No.
I'm kind of an old soul in that way. Like I like to buy physical games and have them.
Mhm.
Oh, me
But
too.
I will say the
For
cool
games I
thing
care about.
Yeah, but the cool thing about going digital is that you can preload it. Like,
Yeah.
if you guys pre-order the
Already
digital
did.
version, then you get to play
Oh.
at 9 p.m. tomorrow.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
And I'm not
I'm
gonna
ready
get
to
to
go.
play it until Friday after work. So
I'm getting it
Sucks
on
for
my
me.
PC and on my PS5, so I'm good in both aspects. I'm
Okay.
already buying it
Turn
twice. It's gonna
one
be
way and play,
Skyrim
and then
too.
turn around.
I
and-
pre-ordered it for PS5, but I think I'm also gonna buy it on Xbox. So
Yeah,
I
it's
think
gonna
we're
be
go
it's
through
gonna be
it,
my new
so.
Skyrim where I have to buy it separate.
Mhm.
yeah, pretty.
okay
Yeah,
with that.
pretty fucking.
Here's the
much.
thing, man. I am more than happy to just throw all my money at FromSoft
yeah.
because they're reliable. They
Yeah.
put out consistently phenomenal games. Never
Yeah.
tried to fuck me over with like microtransactions.
Exactly. Yeah.
They rarely release DLC anymore.
Yeah.
And fucking, I want to give you money. Let me give you more money. Like,
I know.
Yeah,
That's
didn't
what I
have
was saying with
DLC.
Dark
Neither
Souls.
I
did
will
Game
buy
Gouge
the game more than
with the
once
original
just
game.
to support them. 100%.
No, they make fantastic games.
There was no DLC for Sekiro. Did you notice that?
There wasn't. No.
Yeah.
No,
why
there
not?
wasn't. There wasn't. I
Like-
feel like there almost was. They almost put
That-
out
that-
one.
They
that
then
released an
well,
update.
That was their
that-
original plan, though. I remember them saying like
I take it back.
They made Sekiro with the intention of like we never had any planned like expansions. For it.
Yeah,
it was meant to be
okay,
a
so-
self-contained game.
That was part of it, and I take it back. They do have cosmetic DLC. There is
That's
cosmetic DLC, or sorry, there's like challenge DLC
They
and
added
cosmetic.
No, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what happened. It
Yeah.
wasn't a DLC. It was like an update, basically.
It was like post
free.
content
Yeah.
launch.
Yeah.
Post launch content.
They added
Yes,
like
post-launch-
more
post-launch
ways to
content
play
drop.
with like challenge runs and
which
all
is
that
still
shit.
good. But yeah,
Yeah.
it would have been nice to have some DLC for
Is the
Sekiro.
lore of that game was really awesome.
Mhm.
And I don't know, but here's the thing though, dude. I mean, I think Elden Ring's lore is going to be on the next level.
Oh.
I think it's
Oh,
going to be
yeah.
on the
Yo,
next level up.
Vati's already on it. Y'all watch Vati video on YouTube? You fucking should. Every fucking person watching this needs to go subscribe to him now. He's a phenomenal creator.
I'm
Best
on it.
lore dude ever for he's
Sponsor
the
this
king
guy.
of lore for Souls games. Oh my god. He's just
Free advertisement.
Yeah,
there we
go.
please go subscribe to him. Watch all his videos.
His
He's
name's
phenomenal.
Nico Shamlin.
No.
He's a fucking fan. I'm Peyton Oliver.
Yeah,
This is
so
Elder
I
Zoomers
actually
Gaming Guild
His voice
podcast.
is also super calming.
I actually read something. Oh yeah, you know what it is,
Right?
I actually read something today that apparently Elden Ring and Sekiro started production at about the same time.
Really?
What?
So Elden Ring has
That's
taken an extra
crazy.
three,
Three.
almost 3 years,
Yeah.
just because of the scope of the game.
Good.
That is so
that made me
everyone-
even
awesome.
more
Eh,
excited.
dude, everyone I'm hearing from these reviews, they all say this game is like so ungodly big and it's dense
Yeah.
and packed. And so here's the thing, right? Open world games are designed to like lead you down certain paths and like
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
all the secrets. This game is literally built opposite. It is designed to hide everything as best it can from you. And
Yeah.
everyone has
Which-
spent like 60 plus hours, 100 hours scouring every inch of this place and still finding new shit.
I mean,
Like-
it's perfect though. That fits
Crazy.
FromSoft so well because like
It does.
they've always been
The
about
hidden
like
walls.
Yeah,
the hidden walls. You have to piece together all the
No.
lore. Like all the lore of
Like,
this game's gonna have to
yeah.
be earned. I
Mhm.
mean, you know that like
I mean, yeah.
this game's weapons and
Again,
secrets.
subscribe to Vati Vidya. He compiles all
mean,
that shit
yeah,
super well.
The fact that you can just like miss entire side quests in their games makes me
It's
like
wild.
Or
believe
if you talk
that
to a person
you're gonna be
playing
able
it.
to miss like everything.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
like-
dude. You
Like,
know
you have to look for it.
You have
to
do
go
multiple
so
playthroughs.
far out of your way to look for everything. Like
Mhm.
there's no way you're gonna be able to like play the game twice and have the same experience, which
Absolutely
makes
not.
me really
No.
excited.
Y'all, starting class. What you picking? Have you guys looked into it?
Okay,
Deprived.
so
I
Deprived.
did. I
No.
deprived
I
is
am
a
no
classic.
no seriously. I saw a fucking video like that. They made such a great argument for deprived. And I'm like, you know what? You're right.
Deprived.
I'm doing this now.
Yep,
Deprived
What's
is
the-
always
what's
the
sorcerer
best,
one? I
but
forgot what it's called.
the sorcerer like
Cleric
Knight
or
or whatever,
The astrologer.
sorcerer
Was the
knight or
sorcerer?
something.
Astrologer. I think that was it. Yeah, that's the one
Astrologer,
I would
something like
probably
that.
pick. Yeah,
Yeah, that
I
looks
love
really
magic
cool.
and Souls games. I always
Yeah.
build magic.
And
The
this
magic
game,
in this game?
Horoscopes on my
dude,
Pisces.
holy shit. No, okay. The fucking so here's the thing, right? Like sword combat, like melee, that's always
Yeah.
been just
Yeah, that it
incredible.
is what it is.
we
yeah.
know it's
Yeah.
good. FromSoft knows it's good. They didn't really
Yeah.
change anything. Magic,
need
they
to.
fucking overhauled.
Dude, I'm so excited.
It is so
I'm
different. It is so much better.
excited.
Dude,
I've been
everyone's
waiting
talking
for it
about
too.
how,
I've been waiting for it.
dude,
Me
everyone's
too.
talking about how it's like integrated into the game. Like you will be using spells regardless of your build.
Good.
Like,
Love it.
So fucking dude.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm
so excited.
I love that they added a fucking mount. I think that
Right?
is so
Yes.
fucking
What a
nice.
smart idea. Dude, I've been waiting. Like Souls has been ripe for mounts. And I feel like this is the perfect game to introduce it.
Not really until now.
No,
Because
Well,
it
no.
hasn't been as open
here's
as
the-
this is.
You
No,
had to
I'm
run
not
everywhere.
saying like
But
it's
they were
been
linear.
a good
Pretty
opportunity for
linear.
mounts yet, but I mean like
Yeah.
look at any Souls game, it looks like
that's true.
there would be a mount.
The art style.
And the
Yeah.
art style, the feel of the
Fair.
games.
Yeah.
And so it's like now is the perfect time
Oh
to
yeah.
throw a mount in. You know, it's gonna feel like I have no doubt it's gonna feel great. It's gonna
yeah.
feel
The combat.
Oh,
Now it's a combat, Sekiro style jumping,
Yeah.
posture
shit.
from Sekiro in this
got
game. It's literally
posture.
taking the best aspects of every FromSoft
Yeah.
game
verticality.
into this.
Yeah.
Dude, oh my god.
From
and
soft
and
end game.
evolving.
I'm-
Basically, you're not wrong.
Dude, I'm so excited for like the lore and shit in this game too.
Yes,
Oh my
the
God.
lore is just gonna be. Oh my god, the George R. Martin writing.
I know.
Holy fuck! I'm at like all of the hidden aspects that FromSoft loves to put in the game, mixed
Yeah,
with the
exactly.
quality lore that George R. Martin's gonna write for this.
Dude, George writes some crazy fucking shit. He writes like plot lines that are just like there to just be conspiracies in the world. Like there's no basis. Like you'll never know if they're right or not. It's fucking crazy.
So is this why the last Game of Thrones book is gonna take forever? Was it this
Yes.
game?
No, actually, because he probably doesn't know how to fucking the way he writes. He's a what's the term? Gardener. Basically, he has like an idea and then just writes and sees what fucking happens, what comes out on the page. So like he knows where he wants to go. He just has no fucking clue how he's gonna get there. That's why it's
like
taking
that
so long.
sometimes.
He starts I get that gardener thing. He
Yeah.
starts the ecosystem and then lets it like go and
Mhm.
go and go and go, and you don't really know where it's gonna go.
Yeah.
I get that.
It makes
and I
really
feel like,
incredibly organic, like character interactions, shit like that.
Well,
like,
yeah,
it's
I mean,
really great.
yeah, if you think about it, like that's really the best way to create a written universe. If you try to write it all out without it, like if you let all the interactions and the lore come organically, one, it's going to feel really organic, but it's also going to be really dynamic and self-sustaining because it's natural and self-sustaining.
I will push back against that a little bit. I mean, you're right, but it's not like the best way to do it. Like, for example, I have the book somewhere. Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. That dude literally had an outline that was like hundreds of pages. Like he structured it every point, beat by beat. And then like when he went to write the book, it was like barely adding anything. That's how intense that outline was. And it's a fucking phenomenal book.
I mean, I'd say that they both have their places, right? Like I think it depends on the writer. It depends on the concepts too. I think the concepts of a universe and the way that universe is going to be written, I feel like should definitely dictate how it is written, right? And like what you allow for. You know, like I've got immense respect. I love when in movies, for instance, directors really flush out characters, maybe with the intent of never using some of that background content, but just to like give them realistic and what you need to do, you can't just let that organically come out. You have to have that all plotted out because what you're doing is background, right? Akira Kurosawa, you know, you think about like Kubrick really wanted to write out like for The Shining a bunch of shit that like the characters never even do, but it gave him the best possible idea of what those characters would be like in their everyday lives in the moments that we don't see, which makes them more realistic in the moments that we do see and stuff like that. And that required writing.
I've seen authors like talk about how they will literally just like write scenes where characters are interacting and just talking about their beliefs. And that doesn't go in the book. That's just to help them get in the mindset of these characters so they could more accurately represent them in the actual book.
Yeah, because it gives them soul, you know, and I think that's that's probably what we're going to see a lot of in this game. I think we're going to see a Soulsborne game with, and don't get me wrong, Soulsborne has always had really, really good fleshed out characters, right? Really memorable
Artorias.
characters.
Oh.
Artorias. I mean,
Honestly,
you've
Ornstein
got
and Smo's backstory is pretty sick. All
Yeah.
the,
Oh, yeah.
just Gwyn and his knights,
Oh,
his
yeah.
desperation for the Age of Fire,
Yeah.
all this
even
shit.
Sekiro, Ashina,
Mhm.
the Ashina lore.
Mhm.
Oh my
yeah.
Ishin. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Ishin's badass.
Ishin's fucking insane, dude.
He's this sword saint. Oh my
The
god.
swords.
But so it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, plenty of awesome character development. But this, I think, is going to be character writing on another level for a Souls game. It's going to be so, like, every single character is going to have so much backstory to them. They're going to have, in my opinion, the most soul of any Soulsborne game, you know? But
I'm curious to know, why do you guys think this is, I mean, besides the obvious, like it's open world and, you know, you have George R. R. Martin on it, why do you think FromSoft decided not to just make this like a Dark Souls 4? Or, you know.
Well, I feel
think
like
that-
they've
so-
sort
for a
of
couple reasons.
gone
Let's let
in a-
Ethan talk.
So
yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like they've sort of gone in a different direction with every series, right? Like I feel like they've been focusing on different aspects of their games every
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
You know, like I feel like,
Yep.
you know, Dark Souls, that's kind of where it started. You know, they built themselves that formula.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then you had Bloodborne, which was much more aggressive.
Mhm.
You know, you have like the smaller weapon selection, but every single weapon in that game is super memorable. And it's so different to play. Like it's the same formula. You can tell it was made by the same people.
Mhm.
skeletons there,
But you
but different
cannot
meat on
play
it.
it the same way. You
Mhm.
will not have success playing that game the same way you play.
Same
Dark
thing
Souls.
with Sekiro.
There's a shield in Bloodborne that's
Exactly.
literally a joke. Like it
Yeah.
says, "Do not use this" on the fucking shield. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there's Sekiro, which is, I feel like, all about combat pacing.
hmm
You know,
Everything's a
combat
dance.
in that game is super fluid.
Oh yeah, and if you fuck up that fluidity,
yeah,
it's like a rhythm
Everything,
thing.
every single movement has to be intentional.
With
Yep.
Sekiro, it's another aspect of the Soulsborne formula that's being hyper focused on. There is no
Exactly.
like options. There is no
Yeah.
building your character or
Yeah.
weapon selection. You have one sword and that is it
Yeah.
the whole game.
Yeah.
Like it's just combat. Get
Yeah.
The
good at your
only other
rhythm.
sword you get in the game you can't use hardly ever,
Yeah.
right?
It's
So
just the weapon art.
Yeah.
I think it reminds me a lot of some bands intentionally make like, well, so you have like concept albums, but then
Mhm.
what some bands will do is they'll intentionally change up the genre like coloring of their albums. So
Yeah.
like, you know, I think of like Gary Clark
Look at Bring Me
Jr.
the
had-
Horizon.
yeah, or like Gary, the person who comes to my mind is Gary Clark Jr. He has one album that's really soulful. He's got another album that's blues, one album that's R&B, and so it's like it very same core essence.
Yeah.
Always sounds like Gary Clark Jr. It doesn't sound like a different band, but something is being fixated on. Like
Yeah.
this is the blues Gary Clark Jr. This is
Yeah.
rhythm and blues Gary Clark Jr. And so with the Soulsborns, I think you're exactly right, Ethan. It's like this is a Soulsborne game, but it's hyper aggressive. Or
Mhm.
this is a Soulsborne game and it's all about combat pacing. This is a Soulsborne game. It's all about magic or whatever
Yeah,
it might be.
You know.
So I think there's for my answer to your question, Garrett, would be they seem to be a studio where their mission is what can we do with we have a core essence, the Soulsborne formula. What else can we do with it? What how else can we color it? We made it blue last time. Let's make it red this time. We'll make it yellow this next time.
Mhm.
I feel like that's what it is. And I think Dark Souls got a lot of, Dark Souls got up to 3 simply by nature of it being like the OG, right? It's the one that started it all. It's got the most fan investment too.
Well, yeah, it's weird because
I'll push back
I mean,
against that, but
the first Demon Souls is almost identical to Dark Souls. Like almost all the same mechanics are there.
Hmm.
So it's in my mind, I always see Dark Souls as like Demon Souls 2. Because very
Oh,
few things
interesting.
were changed about those games.
Yeah.
Demon Souls did have like a step clamber. Like if there was, not like Dark Souls where there wasn't any sort of jump or step.
well, there was a jump,
uh,
but it was a bitch to use, and
uh,
it wasn't good.
yeah. So, but like other than really minor things like that, they're almost identical. But you're right though. After Dark Souls 3, or actually Bloodborne was right before, but you have Bloodborne, and then you got Sekiro, and so Elden Ring is kind of this next new evolution. Do you guys think that Elden Ring could have multiple games and become like the next Dark Souls, where there's a 2 and a
See,
3, or
I hope not.
I
Personally,
agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
And
I think
here's
it
why.
should have DLC, but I don't think it should have sequels.
I'm really
So
glad I
here's-
was not the only person that was gonna
No.
say no.
None of
I
us
was like,
want more. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
So my answer to your question is fucking Dark Souls shouldn't have had a sequel,
yeah.
but it did
Actually, I'm with
because
you on that.
Miyazaki left for I forget why, but he wasn't gone very long, and they made a fucking 2 to write off the hype in the
Ugh.
series.
And then they tried to make
And
it
it wasn't
mainstream
great.
with the tutorial at the beginning
Exactly.
and everything.
It wasn't
Yeah.
good. Well, okay. Some aspects were fine. Some aspects
Yeah.
were actually really good. The PvP was phenomenal. I will say that.
Yeah, I don't hate Dark
The-
Souls 2.
the-
I think it's okay.
The
It's-
bosses of the DLC for Dark Souls 2 were really well made.
Hmm.
Everything else fucking sucked. Like,
Yeah, it wasn't great. It was a step
there are
down,
some-
is what it was. I don't
Exactly.
think if you look
yeah,
at
it
just
was
Dark Souls 2, I don't
definitely
think,
my least favorite.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, Miyazaki
yeah.
came back and redeemed it with Dark Souls 3.
yeah.
Hmm.
The
And that's
whole
why they made a
nature,
3.
basically.
Well, it was
I think so
redemption.
anyway.
And to kind of finish the story too, I guess.
But see, that's the
No.
thing, is the Dark Souls story is always cyclical. It's always about decay, right?
Yeah.
And the worlds were just falling apart more and more with each entry until it just couldn't be renewed anymore. Which is kind of meta if you think about it, but also like that's the progression of the story. It's been done to death. We do not need any more Dark Souls games. For the love of God,
No.
do not make any more Dark Souls games.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, I would take
And
like a
Bloodborne,
remake or something
Sekiro-
like that, but not a new entry.
We got a remake
What I
for Dark Souls.
well,
1.
so
Yeah.
can I
It was
ask?
a remaster, but yeah.
Whatever,
Because-
same thing.
So Nico, you're making me think of another particular aspect that I love that FromSoft puts in their games, which is like the symbolism,
Mhm.
right? There's an overarching symbolism to Dark Souls, which is like decay and rebirth,
Mhm.
or like you have Sekiro, which is like stagnation of immortality versus the rejuvenating flow of life and death. What do you've got Bloodborne, which is like transcendence and everything. What do you think Elden Rings is going to be? Based off what we've seen so far, what do you think the symbolism or the underlying philosophy of Elden Ring is going to be that undercuts every interaction in the game like it did in, Sekiro or Dark Souls or Bloodborne?
I feel like it's gonna be about overcoming.
You think it's going to be about overcoming, like
overcoming,
adversity and stuff?
like the obstacles in the world, but also like because they always say like rise tarnished, like that's the whole like marketing
Mhm.
thing. It's like I feel like it's gonna be like a redemption arc for like your character, like your player.
It'd be interesting because all Soulsborne games have that element of like, the myth of Sisyphus, the constantly pushing the rock up the hill just to fail and have it go all the way back down, and then you got to push it back up again. Even if
Mhm.
you succeed in a boss battle, you got to fight a harder boss at some point, right?
Mhm.
And then learning to, the fun thing about being a Soulsborne player is you really do start to love the failure, right?
Mhm.
It becomes a part of the enjoyment of the game
Yeah.
almost. I
Mhm.
stayed in the fight for Ornstein and Smo because that goddamn death screen, dude. At a certain point, trying to not see that again, or rather like using that as fuel, was the thing that got me. And that's, I think it'd be interesting if they made a game where it was like, oh yeah, this overlying theme of like, becoming okay with failure or like struggle we're going to make that the hyper fixated part of a game, like what you're saying, like the endure kind of aspect. I think that would be really cool. Plus, we see all the symbolism already kind of in the trailers of like giant enemies that are really, really imposing and like brash. That's always kind of been a thing in Souls games, but
I feel like more this will be focused on exploration and discovery. Just because
it's like,
too, I mean,
like a little bit
like every Souls game has had that, right? Like with the hidden walls and the fucking secret items and all the stuff that you really need to comb through maps to find. But like, I don't know.
Do you think they'll rope that into the story, like the adventure, the pioneering
story change depending on what
unearthing
things or what you find?
That'd be cool. Yeah. Or maybe like they bring it into like the lore, right? So like the main kingdom or something like that was prolific because of their exploration and like they charted everything, or I don't know. I think it'd be cool to have that be the philosophical underpinning.
Yeah, because I don't think Overcoming would really do it, just because in a way
it would have to be more than
that. Elden Ring does have an easy mode, because this is the first game where you can really easily over level your character and just get super powerful before you go and fight a boss. In every other game, if you want to do that, you have to grind something like some super efficient fucking bullshit, right? The same thing over and over and over again.
You have to really like be tactical and prepare yourself for each boss fight. Learn what your weaknesses was. Why did they kill me? It's because I need a stronger, sword.
I'm not looking out for this
game,
move.
Yeah, in this game, it's more, or at least from what it looks like, you can really just explore, have fun, discover, find these nooks and crannies, get really powerful spells from each little dungeon you find, level up. You're fighting like 14 fucking bosses before you even get to the first main story one. Like you can over level your character to an insane degree, use a bunch of spirit summons, just unload your magic. I've seen all the gameplay I've seen, people are just like one-shotting shit.
You know what I think would be cool?
What?
The philosophical idea of like I Nico, you're making me think of like continuous growth through battle, right? So like just by going out into the world and like fighting all these bosses and conquering all these challenges, I think it'd be cool if they emphasized like the more you battle and the more you engage with the obstacles, the greater you become, and then the more powerful you are against your enemies. I think that would be neat.
That would be a really interesting like distinction from the Souls series, because in the Souls games, your character doesn't fucking matter.
Oh no, your character is literally not like physically. Like think about your character's one of the smaller characters in the entire game.
Your character, literally lore wise, does not fucking matter. You were thrown away as trash because there are a million of you and you don't matter. Like the only reason you're getting through this, and even if your character didn't like continue the Age of Fire or end it, someone else is gonna do it.
Yep.
It's you literally,
you will die and life
in
will
that
go
game.
on.
And that's kind of an interesting aspect to it. Like the world doesn't care about you and it will go on without you.
Even in Sekiro, it's like you're important because you're like the guard of the prince, but you yourself are an orphan.
A weapon. Yeah.
And a weapon. You're more a tool than you are actually a valued person.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even in the beginning of Sekiro, you were sort of seen as like useless, right?
Pretty,
I mean,
basically.
You couldn't protect him.
And then and then you got taken in by Owl, and then you were turned into something useful. But I mean, right at the start of the game,
it's not like you're Ishin. I mean, Ishin like conquered Ashina and like set the entire province up for prosperity. You're just a shinobi. You're not even, and the game really emphasizes that, like, you're not a samurai, you're a ninja. You're not as honorable, so it's like at the end of the day, you're a beggar, a little wolf who's a little one-armed wolf who's got looking for scraps and shit. I mean, I think for me it's like if you had a Soulsborne game that really emphasized, okay, you're weak, but the more you go into battle, the stronger you're going to become, and perhaps the more formidable you become in the world. Like maybe enemies start to take notice of you, like maybe you gain notoriety,
like
or
the
something.
Nexus system in the Shadow of Mordor games.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And then
That'd
maybe
be
like
kinda
the
I know
more
that's not in this, but
powerful-
that'd be cool.
the more
Yeah.
powerful you become, like the stronger enemies start to appear, like it invites
Yeah,
challenge.
that would be cool.
I think
That
it'd
would
be
be
neat for
interesting.
Souls. I think it'd be neat for Souls to introduce an aspect like that in a game. A kind of like push against the current type
Yeah.
shit, rather than
Change
you're
this-
swept up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would
but
be
I don't know.
interesting. I do want to kind of try to wrap everything up.
Totally.
Because we got about a
We've
minute
been
left
here a
here.
while.
Yeah, and I've kept you guys here a little bit. Final thoughts about Elden Ring. Do you guys think it's gonna be like, without even having played it yet? You guys think it's gonna be the best from Soft? Because I
Game of
think
the
it
year.
has potential.
Best game
Oh yeah,
yet.
yeah. I'd say so.
I think it has potential too. I'm
Absolutely.
really excited to play it. We all are. We're also excited.
I'm
to
hard.
Play it. I know. All
Rock solid, buddy.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good. And for you, Nico, at least you only have to go to bed one more time before you get to play.
9 p.m. baby, let's go.
I have to wait till Friday. It's okay.
Less
I'll
than
make
a
it
day
through. I've
away.
waited this long. I could wait, another 12 hours. But anyways, peace out, guys. I'll be on this if you want to talk.
It has been